I absolutely love this mural and this saying behind me. It really captures the idea of motivation. It says, don't let the distance between where you are and where you want to be scare you out of simply moving forward. And then over here, we have this great illustration of, as a society, where we've moved from being on a wagon with horses into the trains and on through buses and airplanes and then into space. And this whole concept of, as a people, we may be right there with our goals where we're barely making any progress and we're trudging along super slow. But if we don't become overwhelmed by where we're trying to get to, but instead we simply keep moving forward, our pace will accelerate as we spend more time dedicated to it and as we work harder on it. I just was talking to a friend and he was woefully underweight as a kid, but he didn't let that stop him and he ended up playing in the NFL. But for years, he worked out every single day and he would exercise for hours every single day because he had this vision of someday being in the NFL. And he didn't let the fact that he was underweight and very slow stop him. He just kept trying and trying and trying. And at first, his progress was as slow as a couple of horses pulling a wagon. But over time, all of a sudden, it took off. And he was able to accomplish his dream, play in the NFL. Amazing story. And so often, that's the story that I've heard over and over and over of people who are successful, is they don't let that first fear that, oh, I'm not fast enough, I'm not good enough, I'm not close enough to my goal. They don't let that stop them. Instead, they use that as the fuel to continue to motivate themselves and to continue to move forward. I think the more that we allow ourselves to become excited by every little step, rather than daunted by how far the distance is, the more we get excited by those little steps we are taking, the more little steps we'll take. And the more little steps we take along this path of progression, the more we're eventually going to be moving towards those goals. So you've probably all heard this idea of the person who goes and hears the concert pianist and he's just absolutely amazing. And afterwards they walk up to him and say, it's so great. I can't believe you're so good at that. I wish I could. And they're like, well, why don't you? Well, I'm no good. I've never done it. And they say, well, in 10 years, you're going to be 10 years older. So why not take the time now and start today? And I think that's something that each of us, regardless of what our goal is, it doesn't matter if you're trying to be a concert pianist, it doesn't matter if you're playing in the NFL, it doesn't matter if you're trying to scale a business, or maybe just get healthy, maybe have better relationships, whatever that goal is, you can't become daunted by the big distance towards the goal. You have to stay focused on the fact that you are going to make progress. And as you make progress, that progress will compound. Kind of like investing. When you're investing money into something, that money can compound. And when you get that compound put back in, and then you get compounding interest on your interest, you start to gain and gain and gain. And that acceleration of growth grows far faster than when you're first getting started. But it does require continual effort. Now, for many of us, that continual effort is what's that like paying the extra deposits in. And as you make those extra deposits, you're going to find that your bank account rises. And again, don't be discouraged when the bank account doesn't rise really fast up front. It takes time. That is one of the great secrets in life, is people don't take enough time. They'll think, oh man, I should be able to accomplish all this in a year. Or if they don't, they're like, man, I did this for a year and I didn't get anywhere. People are bad judges of how much they can accomplish in a year, I think. But when you take enough years and stack them up, people often don't realize how much they can accomplish in, say, 7 years. And so they may be like, well, I worked at that for 6 months and didn't make very much progress, so I kind of moved on to something else. Oftentimes, rather than taking that approach, we need to dedicate and say, I'm going to focus on this for 7 years. I'm going to focus on this for 10 years, or this is a part of who I am going forward. And instead of giving up after 6 months, having that long-term mindset shifts the way that we see it and view it. And instead of us hoping that we'll accomplish it in that amount of time, that thing becomes a part of us. And it doesn't matter if it gets accomplished right away or if it takes a really long time to get there. We're going to be able to accomplish things and become a different person because we're approaching it from that different perspective. So again, if you're looking to accomplish things in your life, I would invite you to not let the distance between where you are right now and where you want to be scare you out of simply moving forward.